Let's check in on how that big, beefy Corona bailout is going. Boeing is cutting jobs after giving the CEO it fired over the MAX scandal $80.7 million on the way out, enough to pay 939 workers' salaries, getting up to $17 billion in COVID aid, spent 74% of free cash flow on buybacks last decade, got $8.7 billion subsidy from Washington State. So they just got billions of dollars in aid, and they're cutting jobs. Some of the people will be lucky enough to get buyouts, so they'll pay them to retire. It's a fancy way of saying firing with a few benefits, but they're cutting jobs. See, this is exactly why I was arguing that you should temporarily nationalize all these companies that desperately want a bailout. Do you guys remember the Boeing CEO went on, I think it was CNBC or Fox Business, and said that if the government wants equity shares in Boeing, that, we'll look at other options. So they're going to the government to ask for a bailout, and then they have the nerve to say that if the government, let's say the government gives the equivalent of 40% of the value of Boeing to Boeing, they might have said, we want a 40% stake in the company. So we want to own 40% of the company because that's how much money we gave you. The Boeing CEO was like, well, if they insist on that, then we'll look for other options. We have other options. What? Then why are you asking for a bailout if you have other options? What are you talking about? So they just wanted the money and the government to piss off. Just give us free money and shut up. Isn't that unbelievable? And so here you go. This is exactly why I said if the government, gives these companies or these various industries any money, just temporarily nationalize the industries. Because that's the only way you can guarantee we're going to keep payroll going for the workers, and we don't really have to worry about making a profit during this pandemic because it's a pandemic and the economy is grinding to a halt, and we have no problem, spending whatever we have to spend to keep these industries afloat, but not a penny more, and not on anything ridiculous. So that's the only way you could have guaranteed that is temporary nationalization, but they didn't temporarily nationalize. The government is bailing out. They're doing it with few strings attached, and this is what you get as a result of it. You get the exact thing that we warned you was going to happen is happening. The exact thing. Sorry, I know we took billions of dollars, but we're going to fire people anyway. We're going to spend the resources in a ridiculous way. This is what we knew this was going to happen, and it's happening. So guess what? It's no surprise now that this came out at the same time. As coronavirus spreads, poll shows nearly 60% in the U.S. believe political system designed solely to serve rich and powerful. The survey was taken as Congress debated the $4.5 trillion corporate bailout amid the coronavirus pandemic. So that was a Hill-Harris-X poll, very respected pollster. And again, 60% in the U.S. believe the political system is designed solely to serve the rich and the powerful. Those people are not wrong. Every single group you could think of except Republicans said, this whole system is designed to serve the rich and the powerful. Again, there's an important word in there. Solely serve the rich and the powerful. Everything else is ancillary. Every single other thing is ancillary. So, and even with Republicans saying the opposite right now, I guarantee you, do another poll a month after Trump is out of office. Hey, is this government existing solely to serve the rich and the powerful? And a majority of the Republicans will say, yes, it's solely to serve the rich and the powerful. I guarantee you. By the same token, you have, polls on getting money out of politics. The number is unbelievable. It's like 70, 80% of the public wants to get, private money out of politics for obvious reasons, because it leads to corruption. It's the definition of corruption. So this is where we're at. And this is, yet again, why you have Congress having a 22% approval rating, 22%, Those are the people that we pick, but they have a 22% approval rating. Why? Because of this. Because people know, oh, right, this is designed solely to serve the rich and the powerful. So what would a government like that do? Give billions of dollars to a company like Boeing and sit around as they still lay people off? We just gave you billions. Like, the whole point of giving the billions is so that you don't lay people off, and then you lay people off anyway. See, this is what I'm talking about, man. Read Naomi Klein's shock doctrine, because this is what they do. You have the exploitation of a tragedy to implement the pre-existing agenda. They used it to do that. You could argue the Iraq War was the same thing, that Washington wanted to take out Saddam Hussein for years. And they used 9/11 as an excuse to do that, even though Saddam Hussein had nothing to do with 9/11. But they tried to make the case, and then they went in there. Shock Doctrine 101. That's exactly what this is as well.